Hey everybody, thanks for playing World of Tanks. Thanks for checking out this World of Tanks video. Got a match on the Ardennes. It's an encounter match, mutual capture circle, kind of in the middle area. I'm in the Águila HWK 30, Tier 8 German premium light tank. I just picked up recently as a pop-up special offer for 50% off. Pretty good deal. Didn't spend any gold on a crew customization voucher or a flag voucher, so I always like that. So at the start there, kind of the pre-match countdown, I clicked on a couple of squares there that basically represented, to my mind at least, kind of approaching that mutual capture circle, kind of a prong attack or a 2-point attack. I'm not going to go brawl in the town, at least not at the beginning. Go brawl in the town with my bottom tier light tank. I figure that would be a poor use of my armor, my hit points, and those things that are actually strengths for this tank, which are not the armor or the hit points. Instead, I'm going to kind of leave it up to the heavier vehicles on our team to head that direction. And it looks like, generally speaking, our heavy tanks head that way, and kind of our light tanks as well kind of take the sides and go to the sides of that direction. So our heavy tanks kind of going straight there, all three of them, and then our medium tanks taking up the sides of that route. They're like C5 and down there like K2, 3. And I use my mobility and view range to get out here into kind of the more wide open parts of the map. Keep an eye on things as they keep an eye on the parts of the map that are more close quarters. And notice a Super Conqueror out here. And I just want to take a moment and suggest that the approach of this Super Conqueror is not a good approach to playing this game generally. It's one thing for me to be out there driving around at full speed and using the terrain to protect myself. It's another thing for a top tier heavy tank to get out in the wide open and just kind of fully exposed like that, whether he's using the terrain a little bit or not. Inevitably he's on his own, and he's in a kind of a wide open part of the map, and we have 2 artilleries and clearly a couple of medium tanks and a destroyer kind of protecting that area. Anyway, and there he goes. Alright, so I'm now coming down into the lower area of the map, if you will. Heading kind of back west and down south, trying to... I'm having an eye on our 2 mediums down in the southwest corner. And seeing if I can help them out. Come upon the back side of this IS-7, and I decide that this spot works for me, so I just kind of pull myself up and take some shots as they become available at the back side of the IS-7. And that's a handy opportunity for a bottom tier light tank to contribute to the team by shooting at the back side of a top tier enemy heavy, who has apparently engaged my ally heavies in effectively a pincer or a flanking position, basically straddling my team's heavy tanks with some of his allies or my enemies there, getting our heavies between the enemies. And this enemy light tank similarly puts himself into a position for me to shoot, and so that's what I do. Effectively flanking the flankers, right? That's something that I try to do as much as I can, as much as it's needed and as much as it's helpful when I am in a mobile or a relatively mobile tank. And of course now he's got like 10 hit points and trying to get out of there as fast as possible, but I also have a tier 8 light tank and not really in trouble keeping up with that vehicle, shooting it from behind. And so now all of a sudden we've taken out a sequence of enemy tanks, and we are pretty much ahead. We have effectively taken out twice as many of their tanks as they have taken of ours. And so all the remaining enemy vehicles are at this point kind of in the southern parts of the map, whether we're talking about their spawn or talking about spaces near the capture circle. I'm expecting that enemy medium tank right there to move forward. Never really does. Looks like he's just kind of hanging out. So I am thinking that I'm going to go get around behind that medium tank and shoot the back side of the medium tank if he's not going to give me any shots at his side. Looks like he did finally move forward from where he was at a little bit ago. I'm in the capture circle. And there was just too much of an angle there with that armor, that side armor of these British medium tanks. So I back up, he pulls forward, gives me more of a square look, more of a perpendicular shot. And there's a nice kind of a backside look at top tier tank destroyer. Finishing off the last few hit points there. And so this gets kind of funny here with one remaining enemy medium. I kind of have a sense it was down in that southwest corner, and I'm just not sure where it is. Expecting it to pop up kind of down there in the corner or something. I'm like, need a target. And turns out the enemy tank is like behind me at this point. Gets in. The only penetration that I take all match. And that is that. Well, I think that this Águila HWK 30 is actually pretty good. It has good terrain resistances. It has a good acceleration, a good top speed. It has a good hull traverse. The gun tends to be a good light tank gun. The round velocities are really fast. It has the APCR as the primary ammunition, and then heat as the high cost or the expensive premium ammunition. And that heat actually has a round velocity that's faster than the APCR round velocity in this vehicle, which is maybe a first. It's certainly a very rare thing. I think that, I don't know, I like that setup where you have the APCR as your primary ammunition and heat as your secondary or your premium ammunition. I like that setup. The hull traverse is pretty slow, so that's one of the things that the turret traverse rather is really slow, so that's one of those things you have to deal with, kind of manage with this tank. Otherwise, it's good, it's fun, I'm enjoying playing it, doing pretty well with it so far. Just got a few matches in it. But yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to show off this kind of fun match of kind of covering the map with a light tank. Well, thanks for checking out this World of Tanks video. Thanks for playing World of Tanks.